Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside, and this month's porch chat turned into a greenhouse chat because it is a cool rainy day here in North Carolina. So we thought we would just come and be inside the greenhouse where it's a little warmer, and then of course you've got the beautiful flowers behind us. So this is just a time where Jerry and I have very candid conversation about what's going on, projects that are happening, looking to the future, things coming up, and then we answer some of your questions. So if you have questions, you can of course put them in video comments. We always like to answer our channel members' questions first. So if you are not a channel member, we would love for you to join that. Not only do you get your questions answered first, but also I will release videos early and you get to see them before everybody else does. So happy March.
Yes, it is now March. It's crazy.
It is.
So we made it into March. We've opened in February. Had a really great opening Saturday.
We're going to talk about that more.
Yes. So we've kind of gotten into a little bit of rain here on our first. This is a Wednesday. For our first Wednesday. So it's a little, and I think this Saturday it's going to pour.
Yeah. So that's where we have to, because now the nursery is open Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 3. This is the first Wednesday that we're open, and of course it's a cool rainy day where the past 2 days have been absolutely like magnificent and 70 and blue sky and sunny.
So I think we're getting that tomorrow, so that'll be good. And I think Friday's going to be pretty good up to the end of the day, so
yeah,
should be good. So hopefully.
So just pay attention. If you're coming to the nursery, just know that we're open Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 3, from now until sometime in December when we close for the winter. So just check the forecast, right? So if Saturday seems a little weird or, whatever, just check ahead and then come see us. Obviously, we're still going to be open. It just is a more pleasant shopping experience when it's not, raining cats and dogs.
Right. So you see all these gorgeous plants behind us here at retail. We have gorgeous plants ready to ship out online. We still have a good bit left in stock on the store. We'll begin shipping soon.
Yes.
I know we're getting a lot of emails from our southern friends, southern friends. We will ship when plants are ready. We're shipping by the zones when plants are ready. And so we are getting lots of emails. So I'm happy that you're checking on your order. At the same time, it does, it's okay to check on it, but it does kind of,
just a little grace and understanding. Just know that we are the grower, right? And so we want to ship you the absolute best plant, the best product that we can. I don't want to ship you a plant that we potted up a week ago. It is not going to go well for you or the plant. However, plants that look like this Nemesia, they are coming along. Just remember, we plant in different, like every 2 weeks, we have new plants coming. And so what you want is beautiful roots all the way through. So if this plant were headed to California or Texas or Arizona, we need that plant to look like that so it comes to you happy, healthy, and intact. So we don't get every single plant at one time and plant them up, so we can't say that every single plant is ready at the exact same time. There are certain cases where we will like split an order where if you ordered, a bunch of annuals and they're all ready, but you got some perennials and they're not quite ready, we're going to take care of that. We're not going to wait till everything's ready.
Yeah, so our folks with our website team added down at the bottom of the website, it should have been there a long time ago and was not put on there, but it has the grow zone map. You can put your zip code in and it will tell you the weeks that are projected to ship. So like an 8B is projected to start shipping the week of March the 27th or sometime. It doesn't mean it's going to ship that week, but it's just that
gives you a ballpark idea.
Gives you a ballpark idea of when those things are rolling. Once we're all past our freezing and we're caught up on pre-orders, and when the orders are placed, they immediately go out. So I think if you have ordered from us and you've been getting hard goods, you know that we immediately go out.
Right.
Yeah, we have had lots of good responses from customers on that.
We have.
Yeah, so we keep up. So plants are different. Plants have to grow. We will ship when they are ready.
A plant is not like a birdhouse or a t-shirt or a pair of Felcos,
No.
right? It is a living thing that we are growing.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of grace and understanding, but we know, especially my folks in those warmer places that are ahead of us, in Texas and all those kind of places, we know that you are ready to get your plants. I completely understand, but I need to send you the absolute best plant that we possibly can, because otherwise it just causes frustration and heartache for everybody if we send a plant too early.
Yeah, so it's all going well. We're getting most of the bulk of the annuals have been planted. As of right now, there's like
capacity.
4 trays of what we had projected add on into inventory on e-commerce that just came in. So that's the only thing that's not been planted as far as that goes. There might be 1 or 2 plants that are not to our issue, just from a grower's perspective, from where they come from, that were behind because of their issues. So then we get them later, then we have to grow them out. So that's
there are 1 or 2 annuals that are that way.
Yes.
Maybe even some perennials that are just.
And I don't think we wouldn't hold the whole order back on that.
We would send your order, and then if there's a plant that there's one annual that I'm thinking of specifically that we don't even have yet. They don't because the grower that sends it to us is having an issue, so we don't even have the plant. So we'll ship your whole order minus those plants. When those are ready, then we'll.
So my good friend over at 4-Star this morning.
Yeah.
Yes, she snagged me 4 trays.
There you go. See, it helps to have friends in high places. I tell you, absolutely, yes. So the nursery is open. Shipping all of the things. Let's see. Signature Experience. We still have a couple of tickets left for that. So if you are on the fence and you're trying to think, do I want to come to the Signature Experience or not? We do have a couple of those tickets still available. So we would love to have you. That is where it's going to be an exclusive behind the scenes. You're going to be here for a whole day. You get all sorts of great perks. I'll link that video up above that gives you all the description. You can go to the website and look at that. But we've started getting in, just things being prepared for that, and that's very exciting to see all those things that come up. Mm-hmm. So we're looking forward to that. The gorgeous, I can't even talk. The gardens are going to be gorgeous. So it will be a really fun time for everybody that comes.
Okay.
All right. Anything else that you can think of while I pull up the
Nothing really.
photos?
I think let's just get to
the questions?
their questions and see if we can help everybody out.
All right. So, channel member questions. We're going to hit you first. Miss Althea Jackson says, Jenny, I need to know what to plant in front of my home. Help in zone 7A, 7B. I think we are too cold for the gardenia. What do you think? Thank you so much for your great videos. So it's kind of hard for us to answer these questions because we get a ton of questions, whether it's from social media or emails about, what do I need to plant? So I would just encourage you, and we encourage everybody, to go visit your local garden center, right? And take pictures and take measurements and look for plants and talk to them and really kind of give them your desires for your landscape, because that's what we do here at the nursery.
Right.
But some great things. So if you're talking about gardenia, it depends on what you could do a gardenia. It just depends on what kind and the cold hardiness. I know some things that we recommend would be like sprinter boxwoods. They're very, very cold tolerant, right? Mm-hmm. They can do sun or shade. They're a great plant. So just go and visit your local garden center, but just know that it's really hard for us to give design advice via a question on social media.
Well, yeah, design,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
right.
pretty tough. Yeah.
So we want to help you, but your garden center, your local garden center would probably be a better choice. So take your pictures, your measurements, and kind of know your sun. Mm-hmm. Yep. Then we have Peggy. Peggy asked, how was opening day? I hope it was as nice as you wanted it to be. Can't wait to see what hostas you decide to plant in the chicken coop garden. Have a great day. So opening day.
It was fabulous.
It was fabulous. And we had customers and people all over this place.
Mm-hmm. We did. We were slammed out. Parking was slammed out. We had great 2 food trucks. So
we had Food Junkie with the
the
donuts. Oh dear heavens! So if they are coming back, But when Food Junkie comes back with their donuts and you can be in the area, you need to come. They, oh, dear heavens, they were dangerously good. And then Bolton's, of course, was here. And so both of the food trucks sold out. So they had amazing days. We had, so we had people from all over come see us. We even had folks come all the way from, was it Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Ann Arbor? Outside of Ann Arbor
Outside,
somewhere.
yeah. So it was Michigan. She was a school teacher. As soon as she got out of school, they packed up in the car and headed down. They got stuck in a blizzard. They had to spend the night in Columbus, Ohio. Made their way on down, got here in time to be here. They were afraid they were going to miss it. Had a lovely time with them, got them some plants, and then off they went back to Michigan.
Yep.
So I think that they got the gold star of the day for the farthest travelers for opening day. So that's pretty amazing when you have customers come from Michigan for your opening day in North Carolina. So that was really fun.
Yes.
But it was great to see lots of old familiar faces and new faces. But yeah, it was a whirlwind of a day. And
yeah, we had a great sales day and we were selling, but it seemed like more like we were just kind of hanging out and talking with everybody.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Socializing and chewing the fat, as they say.
Yes.
And then we have Jordan says, wanted to know this, and I thought this was a great question. He wanted an update on the hose link solar lights. Are they still in place? Any thoughts, any plans for lighting in the signature garden? Then said, I appreciate the heartfelt message of this segment. Yes, so all of the hose link solar lights that are almost a year old, not quite a year old, coming up, I think the end of May. And because Hose Link, who makes the amazing hose reels that we love, they also do solar lights. And so last year, I think it was like end of May, 1st of June, somewhere around there, they came and did a photo shoot on the property. And so they gave us all these solar lights, and they're fabulous. I mean, literally have not touched them. The only time, I did touch the ones around the trellis, and that was literally just to move them because I was trimming the rows. But I mean, they just shine bright, and they go.
The pathway lights are really cool.
They are, and so depends on how early I get up as far as with the sun. But there are many, many times that I get up to go in the kitchen to get coffee, and the lights are still out. I mean, it's still on out in the garden.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really fun. So if you are looking for some solar lights, I would encourage you to go to Hose Link because I mean they're a beautiful light. Like the color of the light is really nice, and they have just lasted wonderful. Yeah. And then plans on lighting in the signature garden. What you think?
Well, we've talked about it. It's a possibility.
I think it would be neat because we are so, quote, remote. I think if we did lighting, it would be like if we were having a special event.
Yeah,
because on a general basis, we don't need it.
We don't need it. We're not
down here at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other people you don't see it. It's not like a roadside garden when people are driving by to see it. Yeah,
it's not, and we haven't had any evening events in quite some time. You know, we did one 2019, which that would be cool if we did something like that again. Then that would be neat. But that's where those solar lights would come into play because you could place those out for an event like that, and then
you don't have to worry about running the electrical and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not out of the question. We've talked about it back and forth, but as of right now, not any big plans. Not any big plans for that. Then Debbie, this was a common question. I probably had 20 people asking me this. Debbie was asking, when will you fertilize your roses? Because we've been in the garden talking about things that you're doing this time of year and the pruning and the fertilizing. So as a general rule, you begin fertilizing your roses once you start to see active new growth. And then once you see that active new growth, some actual true leaves form, then you can begin fertilizing your roses because people were asking a lot about fertilizing roses.
Yeah, they're growing.
Anything you want to say about roses? They are. The ones on the shrub lot are almost completely flushed out.
Yes, and we had just put fertilizer out on those, so I'm sure they're loving it.
Yes, they are. They are. So roses tend to be a heavy feeder. So if you can feed your roses, that just is going to give more new growth, which because the roses bloom on new growth, then you've got,
Yes.
means more flowers.
Right.
So I think we all want more rose flowers, right? And then KB Susie Full says, I have Daisy May daisies. They are going into their 3rd season. I'm wondering if or when do I split them? I'm in zone 6A, Michigan. As a general rule, the best time to divide or transplant perennials would be like in the fall going into winter, or coming out of winter going into spring. If you want to divide them, you can. The sign that you would need to divide them is if they've gotten so big and then the center of the plant starts to look like it's dead. You'll see that a lot in perennial grasses when they get so big and then the center looks dead or is dead, then that is a sure sign that you need to go ahead and divide them. But if your perennial doesn't look like that, like a hosta, right? Hostas just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You certainly don't have to. So that would be a personal choice for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's super easy. You want to do it before, like once the plant wakes up from winter and you start to see some active new growth, go ahead and do that then. So you can do it with your hostas, your ferns, or, you know, most, I would say, general perennials.
If you can get your hands on biotone, it would be a good time to do that.
Absolutely. So use that biotone when you replant them.
From a spoma.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then we have, oh my gosh, Miss, we're going to say Miss, because some of y'all's YouTube handles, I'm like, put me on the spot here. Says, is there a specific reason the Florida Sunshine isn't listed on the website to purchase? I want a few of them so bad. We have I haven't even told him this. We have so many people wanting Florida Sunshine.
It's a possibility. It's just going to take us some time. The ones that we have are 3 gallon, but we can get the babies and grow them. We would have to grow them in the quarts to be able to ship out.
So that is where it comes down to like, yeah, exactly what Jerry said. What we get is, quote, retail ready in a 3 gallon.
Yeah.
I love y'all, but we're not shipping 3 gallons. And so we would have to find them as babies, grow them in quarts, and then send them out. Mm-hmm. So we're not saying it's not. Maybe we could get them for the fall. I don't know. We'll just have to play with that, but there are a ton of people asking for that plant.
It's one that gets sold out.
Yeah, here at the nursery, like we can't keep it.
I've looked at a list recently with babies, and they were sold out. So.
Oh, even the babies. So that comes into play too. So for us as the grower retailer, whether we're talking about here at the nursery or online, if we can't get them the plant, then we can't sell it. Mm-hmm. So that's always an issue of, it could be the best plant in the whole wide world, but it's not available either for us to purchase as a retail ready and or as a young plant to grow out. So we all struggle with trying to get plants that we want and we can't have. I had a lot of questions about this one. So I planted up my hanging baskets on the front porch, and I used my dragon wing begonias and the diamond frost euphorbia. They're going to be lovely because they were lovely last year. And a lot of people were asking about the dragon wing begonias. So Jenna says, are the dragon wing begonias proven winners? And they're not, because they're what we would call a non-branded, quote, generic plant. So Proven Winners doesn't offer dragon wing begonias. They have other begonias that are fantastic that I absolutely love, but they don't have the dragon wings, which are like the kind of that drapey, weeping, cascading. That would be the technical term. So yeah, so you should be able to find dragon wing begonias. I mean, that is a very common plant that I would say most garden centers will have available. Yeah, so you should be able to find them pretty easily this spring in your local garden center. And then DM Balsam, can online customers get landscape advice too?
Oh my word.
So not at this time.
Yeah.
I'm putting Jerry on the spot here. So not at this time. We just simply don't have the manpower to do that. We have talked about being able to provide that service in the future, because we know, like we've talked about with Miss Althea, right at the very beginning, asking questions about design and everything. That's just very, I would say labor intensive, like time consuming, and requires, you've got to have the manpower, the people that understand plants and understand landscape design and understand all these different things. And we just simply at this time don't have the staffing for that.
Yeah, at this time we're not doing that. We're busy growing and selling the plants and getting them shipped out this year. We're totally focused on that. And then maybe that's it's
a great service to add in the future for sure.
Like that.
So in the meantime, like I told Miss Althea, try to go visit your local garden center, talk with them, take your pictures and your plans and your design, your ideas and your son, and hopefully they'll be able to help you out in the meantime for that. And then Suzanne says, good morning. I am new to your channel and I must say I love it. Thank you. How would I know my zone for planting? You have the most beautiful plants and some I have not seen before. I can't wait to start planting for this year.
So now you can go to our website and for planting like cold hardiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go to our website. Down at the very bottom, you'll see USD growing map link thing. Click on it, put your zip code in, and it will tell you.
So it's just based on your zip code. So you can, like Jerry said, you just put your zip code in and it will pop up and it will tell you what your growing zone is. And so for gardeners, it is one of, especially if you're doing like perennials, shrubs and trees, right? If you're doing annuals, annuals are annuals. They just last that one season. But if you want to expand and do those perennials, shrubs, and trees, then it's very important to know your growing zone, your cold hardiness zone. And the USDA, back in the fall, updated the map. So it tweaked it slightly.
Yeah, and we're not really changing what we're doing.
We're not freaking out over that. No, we went from a 7B to an 8A, which is like a half of a step of a zone.
And would I change the way I'm doing things based on that? No, I would not.
No. Other than for me, it gives me permission to push the envelope. I'm just saying, to push the envelope on plants that I thought, well, maybe I was too cold beforehand. Well, maybe I can try that and see how it does. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yep. So we all look at things a little differently. That's what makes the world go round around here. Okay. RPH Jacobs says, Jenny, y'all's yard and grass is gorgeous and green. What kind of grass is that? Bluegrass? The flowers are gorgeous too. Haha. Yeah, it's funny because especially this time of year, people really notice the grass.
Yeah, it comes in strong this time of year because it's fescue, tall fescue, turf type 2 fescue, not like Kentucky fescue. It's a turf type 2 elite blend.
Okay.
Fescue. This is its prime time.
It is. So fescue is, because I tell people this before, is that where we are in North Carolina, we can grow like cool weather grass, the fescue, or we could grow warm weather grass, the Bermuda, the Georgia, the centipede. We personally like the fescue because we like the green.
It's because it sort of stays green like all the time.
It does. It may start to show a little stress in like August when it's super hot.
And then sometimes when it gets super cold, it'll get a little yellow to it. Yeah. And then it kind of works itself out of it.
Yeah, but now is its prime time.
Yes, it's growing and it's going to be, it'll need to be cut, double cut and a single cut. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to cut on Thursday, you're going to double cut it.
Right.
Come up April.
You cut it twice.
You cut it twice.
At one time, right? So you cut the whole thing and then you go back and you cut it again.
You cut it again.
Talking about that, at the signature garden, of course, remember we put sod down in the fall, and that was that tall fescue. And we want you to go in the garden. So if you are here visiting us, that garden is open. We want you to walk on the grass. Jerry has had even a couple people ask if it's okay if they walk on the grass. Absolutely, that's why it's there. It is thick and it is like carpet. So, and I think even one person said he wanted to take his shoes off and just walk barefoot because it was just so soft and luxurious.
Yeah, that was a nice elite fescue. It has some really nice dark coloring to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful grass.
Yes.
Next is Tracy's Garden. Love seeing the production side of things. Can't wait to have my plants arrive. 2 questions. Do you guys trim the plants at all? I'm surprised seeing the small plants with flowers already on them.
Yeah.
My other question, do you plan to offer gallon-sized plants online in the future? So let's take the first. Do we, with the annuals, do we prune them, trim them, like at this point of the year?
It will depend on what's going on with it. you know, I may take that off. It's leaning off to the side. The kind, you know, you're gonna put the paper in, and then it's gonna get broken, and then we would just cut it off.
Right, but that's for shipping.
For shipping.
So, but like in general practice in the greenhouse, do we go through and prune the annuals?
Yeah, we were talking about that. Me and Cece today. We're probably going to prune back some petunias right now. Yes.
Because some of the petunias, like I know Royal Velvet is behind us over my shoulder over here, and it is it's aggressive. It's amongst it's sitting between some mini vistas, and there's like nice tight even on the table, and then there's this big hump of Royal Velvet, and it goes back down. So some plants are just naturally more aggressive, and to keep them from getting super leggy, we do go back through and cut them back.
We try to keep them cool so they don't do that, but it's been warm lately and out of control.
Yep. Okay, so then second question, do you plan to offer gallon-sized plants online in the future?
I think so in the future. You know, maybe it will depend. Just see, you know.
Right, and one of the main things with that, as far as like with the gallon, is that means like whole new sets of boxes and inserts and packaging material, because that's the things that you know you don't really like are fully aware of until you're actually in and you're shipping plants or shipping anything for that matter, of like all the logistics of, you know, for example, you know, you're shipping grandes and quartz, so you have boxes and inserts and the packaging to protect that,
set up for
and
it.
then poor Mary Claire, then we order like birdhouses. Well, the birdhouses may be completely different, odd shapes than what the boxes that the plants go in. And then we offered some unique stone. Well, then that requires a lot of like protective wrapping. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into when you change sizes and shapes and weight and all of that.
We pretty much have the plants nailed down. So that would be one reason why we probably wouldn't consider the 1 gallons until sometime.
Yeah, it will not be this year.
No.
So it will not be this year for sure.
Not at all.
And then Doso. Anyway, hey Jenny, are there any annuals that can handle overhead spray from lawn sprinklers? Due to the shape of my flower beds and lawn areas, the front of some of my beds get hit with the sprinkler. Your expertise would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think they'll be fine. Just about, because
like, how do we water this?
We water this with wands, and it's over the top of them, and I have, in the signature garden, I have overhead.
Yeah.
So our annuals in there will receive the overhead.
Right, along with the perennials and the shrubs.
Yeah, it's the timing of it.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you're watering, you know, first thing in the morning, so it has time to dry off during the day, and then when it dries off, not to hit it again that afternoon.
Right. You don't want to go into the evening hours
wet
with your plants wet.
Yeah.
Because you're increasing all sorts of problems, whether it's snails and slugs and funguses and all rot and slimy plants. So, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
There's a lot of folks that even set their annual beds up with micro misters that spray it, because sometimes it's just easier to do that than have a bunch of drip lines in there.
Right.
Because it's the same bed over and over and over.
Well, and that's what we went back and forth with on the signature garden, of like how we were going to irrigate it. And then we said, because those annual beds are going to get switched out at least twice a year. So just wrestling with those irrigation lines is just too much, and they're going to get cut. We're going to get in there back and forth. And so it was just easier for us to do the overhead irrigation.
Yep.
Yep.
Easy
like
peasy.
you said, if we needed to come back in and put in drip, we can do it at a later time. All right, next question. What would you recommend for morning shade and afternoon sun for the hottest part of the day? I'm in 9B, so this is from B Pat. I believe we were talking about annuals, and so if you have we've talked about this before, like those no fuss plants. So I'm going to say you go to your lantanas, you go to your portulacas, you go to your salvias, and your blew my mind volvulus is a great one to do that.
Did you say that?
Yes. So definitely go for those, and you can search by plants, like the heat tolerant plants. That is what you want. And then of course it also depends if you have irrigation and that kind of stuff. Caladiums would be a good one.
Caladiums would be a good one.
Especially if you're in a humid 9B and not a dry 9B, because they love it hot and humid.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Lots of great options, whether you're, no matter what, for sure. And then we have Kay says, this is when one of the videos that I was doing, and I just casually mentioned that before this time of year, especially because I'm in the garden every single day, and how I maintain my Felcos. And so Kay says, sorry, but must ask, do you really maintain your Felcos like that? Mine are old, but are my friend. Just noticed today they aren't as sharp. Took them to be sharpened a few years ago. They looked at me like I was crazy. Please provide guidance without selling. You're so delightful. Love watching your videos. Love from a somewhat senior. And so my response to that is, I'm never going to tell you something that is false. And I exactly maintain my Felcos just like that. And that's what the beautiful thing is about Felcos, because heaven knows we went through so many, pruners, clippers, whatever you want to call them, secateurs, before we went to Felco, and they would last us like a season before they got rusted or they were dull. And so with our Felcos, everything is replaceable. So yes, Miss Kay, I do exactly what I told you that I do. It is not a sales point. You can ask my husband. I hate being salesy. It is my job to give you information. It is your job to decide if you want to take that information or not.
Unfortunately, it's just like everything else. The maintenance kits are there and the sharpening tools are there because they're necessary. It's like your car. It's not salesy to say that you need to get an oil change and you grease your grease points. If you don't do any of that, then your car is going to have problems.
Right.
So it's the same thing with the pair of Felco, pruners, hand pruners that you spend $70 on. You can have for a lifetime if you just. I know, for instance, like, Jenny's, because she maintains them like all the time, and I open those things up and they just fly open and they're ready to go, and mine need maintenance, and then it's not the same.
Right.
And it's just the truth.
No, it is the truth. And that's the thing too is, and then just even as I don't have to take them to go get sharpened. Now, every once in a while, even though I do sharpen them and I grease them and I clean them, every couple of years or every year or whatever, depends on how much you use them, you're going to replace the blade. I think the blade is like less than $5 to replace. So you get it's like a brand new set. So yes, just know if I tell you that I do something, I really do it. And this is not a sales tactic. I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm giving you information, and I'm sharing what I do. And I have found either one, successful or not successful, because I share my messes and my successes with you.
I think what we should do on the website is do a Felco success kit.
Right.
If you want success and you want to keep them, then so that way we can put it together for you. It's in a little kit and you can just order it.
Right. It would be great. Because I know for me, when I go and grab my garden belt that has my Felcos, my garden belt is sitting right there, and beside the shelf is the 905 that I can sharpen. It has the, I forget the numbers, like the 980, 981, whatever, but it are the cleaners. So it's literally right there in front of my face, and I keep a roll of paper towels right there. So it literally takes me less than a minute to spray, clean, sharpen, and then grease. And out the door I go, and I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is it? Prevention is worth a... Whatever that saying is, but prevention is always better than trying to fix something that's broken.
Yeah, it is.
And so there we go.
We didn't maintain the John Deere mower like we should have, so it blew a cylinder.
Right. There you go. Now it's going to cost us a ton more money.
Then it costs a ton of more money to get half the engine fixed.
Right. All right. So Sharon James, when I was up in the chicken coop planting, says, you're planting before the last average frost date. What happens if there's a cold snap?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a cold snap for sure. But, and he laughs because, I think it's everywhere. You have about 3 or 4 false springs. So it's nice and warm and everything's waking up, and then bam, you get hit with this hard freeze. And then it warms up, and then bam, you get another frost. So that's why he's laughing.
There would be some things, that have come up naturally, like perennials, like the cat's pajamas, and if it's up, and it's going to probably withstand that.
I'm looking at, there's alliums right here beside of us.
Yeah.
They are going to be perfectly fine. So what I was planting in that video were hellebores. I was planting shrubs that were
Oh.
dormant, right? So I was planting things that have been outside all winter. That is totally fine. It is not a problem whatsoever. However,
When you come in here.
if I come in here, and even
Yeah.
if I'm up at production, right? So we have basil and coleus and all these really warm weather plants, annuals that have been in a nice toasty greenhouse. If I were to put them outside and we have a cold snap, which we will, they're dead. So that's why when people come here, we caution them, you know, you may want to wait a little bit on the lemon coral sedum. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a plant. The the basil or the
Sometimes like
lantana.
lantanas, all your warm seasons, like there's no coleus even here. 'Cause
No.
I've been keeping this greenhouse cold.
Right.
So everything in here is, it's a little more hardy to the cold, down to 40, 39 or so, but protected from frost. But you know, I know you planted some of these.
I did.
You know,
I did. But I am
fair amounts.
prepared if we hit, right, these are cool weather annuals, but I only did 3 containers of them, and I am prepared for those nights when it gets below in that low 30s and those 20s. I'm prepared to cover them and protect them, and they'll be okay.
Yep.
So my general advice to you is when you go to the garden center, maybe ask them, you know, are these plants hardened off? Have they been outside in the winter? Or do I need to protect them if we have a hard freeze? Ask them that question. If you need to protect them, then you make the decision whether you want to do that or not. Maybe it's just, maybe your life is crazy, you can't do that, so you just wait on the plant. Or if it's been outside all winter, honey, it doesn't matter, because it's not like we're covering these plants. No, they're tough. So it was a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I thought it was a really good question. And speaking of being a good question, you're the last question. So we're wrapping up with you, Sharon. So yeah, that was all the questions that I saw repeated kind of over and over that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about.
Yeah, they're good questions.
It is a good question. So wherever you are in the country, or the world for that matter, we have a lot of friends in Australia, and so we're talking about, you know, we're going into spring. And they're going out of summer and into fall, so it's really fun to talk with our Aussie friends about the difference between they're ending their season and we're just getting geared up and getting started for our season. So wherever you are, enjoy your garden. If you are still covered in snow, this is a great time to plan and to dream and to get those ideas together. Get a game plan, because when spring does hit, I know that you want to hit the ground running, and
off we go.
Off we go. We keep talking about as a staff, we keep saying that we're going to be hot and sweaty and dying from heat stroke before we know it, because time just seems to be flying along.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. As always, we so appreciate you. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.